I told you last week that I wanted to discuss J.J. McCarthy. It was one of the games in the 1 o'clock window that got really lost because there was great football yesterday in the 1 o'clock window. And J.J. McCarthy was able to go on the road in Detroit after not playing since week 2. You were able to go on the road against the Detroit Lions in Motor City and get a win. That was absolutely huge. And I told y'all roughly earlier in the week that I was going to discuss that game. I never got around to it. But seeing that the Ravens and the Vikings faced off this week, I was like, dude, there's a no-brainer. I have to talk about this game for a preview. So today, this morning, I went back, looked at the tape, looked at the stats. J.J. McCarthy wasn't great. He had moments. And this is why he interests me. Is this a must-win for the Ravens? I'll discuss that next. That's roughly the next part of the show. But J.J. McCarthy reminds me of Josh Allen. He's not as good as Josh Allen, do not get me wrong. But just the roller coaster aspect. There's plenty of moments where it's like, okay, that's the J.J. McCarthy that we thought that we were going to get with the Vikings. It's the J.J. McCarthy that we saw in the preseason last year before he tore his meniscus and he was out for the rest of the year. That is the J.J. McCarthy that the Vikings put and invested all of that draft capital into. The reason why they got rid of Sam Darnold, and they chose you to be the quarterback. But you get that in spits and spurts. You can't get it for 4 quarters. Can we get good J.J. McCarthy for 4 full quarters of consistent football? That is something that I'm going to look forward to in this game. And I say that because you're playing a Ravens team who defensively is not that good. You know, people are saying that they've had a revelation the last couple of weeks. They're getting healthier. Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, all the guys, they're back. But still, you know, and they just traded for a guy from the Titans, so he's going to be available this week. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays. But still, this Ravens club on defense is not that good. They are in the lower portion of the league in all categories. So if you're J.J. McCarthy, this is another opportunity. You were able to go out against the Detroit Lions, who have a pretty good defense. You were able to be pretty relatively successful. Granted, if it wasn't for your defense playing pretty great football yesterday, turning the ball over and things of that nature and getting stops, maybe you could have lost that game. But you were able to muster up 27 points and win the game. That is great for J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings. They have the roster. The Vikings have the roster to be successful. J.J. McCarthy has all the intangibles at his disposal. Now, I do not love the Vikings O-line at all. It was part of the reason why Carson Wentz got killed back there. But they have the roster. You have Addison. You have Jefferson. You have Aaron Jones coming out of the backfield. You have T.J. Hawkinson. You have all these weapons at your disposal. And you have a phenomenal defense. This is the time to see JJ. Can we get more consistent? Can we play better football? Because it's an indictment against JJ McCarthy that you had an ankle injury. They didn't put you on IR, and yet you missed more than 4 games. And they put and marched Wentz out there with a tore up labrum, messed up ribs, ankle, knee. Like, Carson Wentz was a walking infirmary. And yet they would have rather walked Carson Wentz out there on the field instead of playing you. That's an indictment against J.J. McCarthy. But can J.J. McCarthy be consistent? Can he get those nice plays, the nice back shoulder throw to Justin Jefferson in the end zone, the running play into the end zone? Can he carve up some of these plays and bottle it up for 4 straight quarters? That is something that I personally am going to be looking forward to going into this game. Now, let's go from it from the other side of the Ravens, like I told you. Is this game a must-win for Baltimore? I absolutely 100% agree. Yes. Because you're the Baltimore Ravens. You are trying to catch up to the Steelers. I think the Bengals are a lost cause. They're absolutely terrible alongside the Browns. So if you are the Baltimore Ravens, you're 3-5. You are trying to muster up wins, climb yourself out of this hole, and make it into the playoffs. This is a big game for that because your schedule for the Baltimore Ravens does not get any easier down the road. If you look at Baltimore's schedule, Baltimore still has to play the Steelers. You got to play the Bengals twice. You have to play the Patriots. And you got to play the Packers. That's not an easy schedule. So when you got this game and you have a game against J.J. McCarthy, this is your time, Lamar Jackson, to show up and shine on offense. Defense, can you make a stand? Can you stop J.J. McCarthy? Because if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you have Lamar Jackson, you have Derrick Henry, you have Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. You have all of these weapons at your disposal. Can you be able to play good offense, score points, and defensively get enough stops to come out and win this ballgame? Lamar and the offense need to be efficient because you are facing a Brian Flores-led defense. The key to the game for me would be to run the ball. The Vikings rank 20th in run defense. That is their weakness. The Vikings are good at taking the ball away, and they're good at passing defense. You are the Baltimore Ravens. You have Lamar Jackson, who is stellar at running the football, and you have Derrick Henry. And you have people like Zay Flowers and everybody else who you can give the ball in the backfield. There's no excuse why you should not be able to be efficient against the Vikings defense. Now, that Vikings defense are no slouches. The Detroit Lions, a team who is one of the best rushing attacks in the league, they weren't even able to come up with a win last week against this Vikings defense, and they were at home. You're on the road going to Skull Nation. So the key to win is you got to be able to stop J.J. McCarthy from being able to put together efficient football for 4 quarters, and on offense, you got to score. Do not let J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings linger around in this game, because if there's a 10-7 3-point lead, the Vikings have the weapons at their disposal to be able to go in, come back, and win that type of game. You got to put them away. Cannot let them linger around and think they have a chance to win. So that is my key to success when it pertains to the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, because me personally, I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens can make the playoffs. They have the capability. I don't think they currently right now have it because, and we're going to talk about the Steelers later, I was very surprised at how well defensively that the Steelers were able to play against the Colts. Now, if they can play like that going on the rest of the season, I might have a different argument. But I think offensively, the Ravens are not even in the same. They are out. The Steelers' offense is not even in the same stratosphere as the Ravens. I think that the Ravens' offense is just way better. Defensively, I would rather have the Steelers' defense. But when it comes to playoff time, I think I might trust Lamar and the Ravens to get the job done. And coming near the end of the season, I would rather trust Lamar and the Ravens to gut out and make it into the playoffs instead of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not 100% sold on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to see more. Now, this matchup coming up this week, we're going to talk about that later. If the Steelers do a job, I might change my mind. But specifically with Baltimore, right now, I just have a little bit more faith in Baltimore. And I think they have a chance to run the table and get into the playoffs. So it is a must-win for Baltimore. And we'll see in my picks of the week if I pick them to win. But I give them a good shot at winning this game.